Feeling drained even when you're doing all the right things? In this episode, we explore why true self-connection goes deeper than surface-level self-care, and how mindfulness can help us stop numbing, start refilling, and finally feel whole again. Welcome. You are listening to Our Mindful Nature, a podcast helping healers and those searching for healing respond to anxiety, overwhelm, or depression with nature-inspired meditations for better mental health. I'm your host and meditation teacher, Meryl Arnett. This podcast is recorded from my live Monday night meditation class. If you would like to access today's meditation practice or nature soundscape as a standalone audio file for your daily use, please subscribe to my newsletter at merylarnett.com. All right, y'all, grab a cup of tea, pop in your headphones, and find a comfy seat. All right, welcome. Thank you guys for being here tonight to practice. I have been thinking about something that I continue to experience. I'm guessing y'all experience as well. And it always sort of surprises me, which is that I continue to find myself experiencing moments where I will be totally overwhelmed and or emotionally exhausted, drained, and just feeling depleted. And in those moments, I always have this thought in the back of my head of like, man, I do so many things to take care of myself. I'm conscious of my sleep. I drink the water. I get outside. I meditate every day. And there's always a piece of me that's like, really? But why is this happening? And I thought it would be worthwhile talking about it. Like, let's just bring out into the open that even as meditators, even as people who are aware of self-care and likely employing some level of self-care, there are still moments that really get us, where we feel that ultimate sense, I think, of disconnection from ourselves. Like we're just so surprised by our own emotional state. And I want to talk about ways that we might think about refilling our cup. But more importantly, I want to talk about the sneaky things that empty us, even when we think we're doing all the things, right? So there are lots of ways we can think of metaphorically filling our cup, right? These are things that feel connective and supportive and essentially give us a return on our investment, whether that investment is energetic, physical, time. These might be things like going for a walk, having tea with a friend, journaling, reading, watching a movie. I actually have a list. This list comes out of a DBT skills workbook. So if you've done therapy, you might recognize this list. And I like it because it's super all-encompassing. Like it has tons of potential filling activities. And so there are things like talk to a friend on a phone, invite a friend to your house or go out with a friend, go to a party, sleep or take a nap, cook your favorite dish, go outside and play with a pet, take a bath, watch a funny movie, go to the movie theater, play video games, create your own website, join an internet dating service, sell something you don't want, do a puzzle, get a haircut, go to the library, visit a museum, go to the mall, go to your church, synagogue, temple, or other place of worship, write a letter, call a family member, learn a new language, sing in a choir, join a club, plant a garden, knit, crochet, sew, paint your nails, change your hair color, work on your car, read your favorite book, sign up for a class, read a trashy celebrity magazine, write a poem, draw a picture. List goes on and on and on and on. And there are some things that probably I said and you were like, that's not going to fill me up. And other things that you're like, yes, check. That is a thing I would want to do, right? It varies for all of us. We each get to have our own things that help to fill us up. But what's really interesting is how many things on that list did you think to yourself like, oh yeah, I do that. That's satisfying for me or supportive for me. And yet I still find myself struggling sometimes, even when I go outside, even when I take the bath and get the haircut and read the book and go to the museum. I'm tired. I'm drained. And one of the reasons for this is this very sneaky disconnect that we all do. And it's titled multitasking. This is I'm going to go have coffee with a friend, but I'm going to leave my phone face up on the table so that I see every notification that pops up while we're talking. I'm going to get my hair cut and I'm going to scroll the whole time. I'm going to read a book, but the whole time I'm reading that book or watching that TV show, I'm also writing the little to-do list of all the things that I'm not doing that I should be doing and I better remember to do later. The conversation with the friend where I'm so busy thinking my own thoughts, I miss half of what they say. And it's not that we do this stuff intentionally, right? It's almost habitual. We almost don't notice that we're doing it. But that simple act of splitting our awareness takes an activity that should be filling us up or creating a sense of replenishment, restoration, and instead makes it just as draining as anything else in our lives. And so a piece of our work as we're talking about how do we care for ourselves, how do we energetically support ourselves, especially in moments where we feel overwhelmed or anxious or exhausted, a piece of that work is remembering what it means to actually be present. It means that when we choose something for our own pleasure or our own self-care, that we really fully, consciously choose it, name it, and attend to it. And so without me even having to say this out loud, I know you know the practice of meditation is meant to help us with this. It's meant to support us so that in everything else we do in our days, we're a little bit more conscientious to be awake, aware, and single-minded, focused on the activity that we're doing. I know I've shared this story many times, but I have a very vivid memory of being, a little into my meditation practice, not super far along, but I had been practicing for a while. And I was driving my son to preschool at the time, years ago. And it's like, it's kind of rush hour-y and we sit in traffic and he's little and doesn't like to sit in the car. It's a schlep. And I remember he's chattering away in the backseat, talking. And I'm driving and it's rainy and trafficy. And I got him to preschool that day and I thought, man, I didn't hear a word he said to me. The whole time I was having a totally separate conversation with myself about what was going on in my life. And then later that same day, feeling tired, feeling frustrated, get him to bed, drop onto the couch, turn on Netflix. I'm just going to watch this show and zone out. I'm exhausted. It's all I want to do. And I'm watching the show for an episode or two or however many. And I have this realization, I'm not even watching the show. It's playing in front of me, but my mind is doing a totally separate thing right now. It was this very stark awareness of how I could be choosing to do something and not even there for it. right? And so our practice, this practice of meditation that we do together, is in a very gentle, loving way, sort of snapping its fingers at you and saying, hey, you said you were going to do this right now. So come do this. Put all that other stuff aside and focus here. And then when we end this practice and we do the next thing, whatever the next thing is for you, you get to say to yourself, hey, do this thing right here. Let everything else go for the moment. And let's notice together how that does support energetically the way that we feel. I wanted to read this little definition of mindfulness that I came across in a book recently. This is from a meditation teacher named James Barez. And James describes mindfulness this way. Mindfulness is simply being aware of what is happening right now without wishing it were different, enjoying the pleasant without holding on when it changes, which it will, being with the unpleasant without fearing it will always be this way, which it won't. Simply being aware of what is happening right now. And so as we think about how do I connect to myself so that I'm really truly able to refill or balance or restore my energetic capacity, our invitation is, can I be right here, right now, focused on this? And just for right now, we're letting go of all the other plans and distractions and stories. So the practice that we're going to do together tonight is an energetic practice. We're going to move through the energy centers in the body, the chakras. And as we take that journey, there is nothing for you to do other than to be here, to notice, and to practice the skill of single focus. Yeah? So let's try it together. Take a minute to find a seat. You can sit in any way that feels comfortable to you. Letting your feet drop on the ground, leaning back in a chair, maybe letting your eyes close. And remembering that you can always just take a soft gaze down towards the ground. And together as a group here, we're going to take a nice deep breath in. And exhale out a sigh. And we'll just do that once again when you're ready. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling out a sigh. And allowing your breath to flow. And as always, we begin our practice by silently saying to ourselves, now is my time to meditate. Now is my time to meditate. And as you say those words, perhaps you can just feel yourself letting go a little bit. Softening a touch into this one moment. And maybe before we get too far into the practice, we'll remember once again these words by James Barez. Mindfulness is simply being aware of what is happening right now, without wishing it were different. Enjoying the pleasant without holding on when it changes, which it will. Being with the unpleasant without fearing it will always be this way, which it won't. And so we take our time just to soften a bit into this moment. You might feel or imagine like you're letting go of everything that's already happened. And you might feel or imagine as if you're letting go of all the things that are yet to come. And with as much ease as possible, you'll invite yourself to land fully here. Calling yourself unequivocally into this moment. And from top to bottom, like a wave washing across you, feel your body soften. Down the muscles of the face, especially along your jaw, your tongue. Across your shoulders and down your arms, a sense of letting go. Softening down through the chest and the belly. Through the hips and the thighs. All the way down through the calves, the ankles, the feet. And taking a moment to simply savor that easy flow of breath. And gradually, as you feel ready, just gently directing your awareness down to the base of the pelvis. The very root of the body, and here is the element of earth. And you could feel this as damp forest soil. Or as young spring buds and blooms. Taking a moment simply to breathe into that sensation of earth in the body. Connecting to your root, your foundation, your steadiness. And from that rich soil, you'll start to breathe up towards the lowest part of your spine, the sacrum, that flat triangular bone. And breathing up to the sacrum and in and out of the sacrum, Here is the home of water, of spring rain, of streams, of rivers, of sweat and tears. And connecting here to the element of water. And then from the sacrum, we breathe up and up towards the navel center, right behind the belly button. Breathing out and in through the navel center. The home of fire, of heat, sun, lightning and flame, of energy and passion. Connecting to self through the element of fire. And from fire, breathing up and up towards the heart center. Breathing in and out of the heart center. This is the home of air. Of wind, of breath, of birdsong. Breathing in and out of the heart center. And connecting to self through the element of air. And from the heart center, breathing up and up towards the center of the throat. The throat here is the center of ether. Ether is space, the invisible netting that holds all things, all beings. Breathing in and out of the throat center, and feeling the web of connection. From the throat center, from space and ether and connective tissue, we breathe up into the midbrain, right into the very center of the head. This is the still point. Beyond the elements, beyond anything external. Breathing in and out. Feeling connection to your truest self. And we breathe up one final time. Right up past the crown of the head. Moving up past the crown of the head and feeling ourselves in our fullest expansion. As stardust. As particles woven into the universe. And from stardust, back down into the midbrain, into that sense of self. And from the sense of the self down into the center of the throat, into ether, connective space. And from ether down into the heart center of breath and wind and birdsong. And from breath down into the navel center, into fire and sunlight and lightning. And from that energy down into the sacrum, the flow of water through tears, rainfall, rivers. And from water all the way back down into our home. The forest floor, the soil. Taking this last moment just to expand your awareness through the whole body. Feeling yourself breathe, maybe noticing how you feel. And letting yourself stay connected, stay present, even as you deepen your breath. Even as you wiggle your fingers and your toes and you feel into those edges. And then together as a group here, we'll take a deep breath in. Exhaling out a sigh. Taking all the time you need to let go of your practice, to open your eyes if they're closed. Thank you, guys. As we close this episode on connecting to self, we're reminded that refilling our emotional, mental, and physical energy isn't just about what we do. It's about how we do it. Despite our best efforts, multitasking and numbing habits can silently drain us, leaving us overwhelmed and empty. But through the lens of mindfulness, we can shift from disconnection to deep self-renewal. With insight, reflection, and a grounding body-based practice, this episode offers a powerful invitation to return to yourself with presence and compassion. Next week, we're back with an extra special episode. It's an introduction to forest bathing with guide Eve Payer as an exploration in deepening our connection to nature. The very best part about this episode, you can forest bathe even if you can't get into the woods today. Find out how next Thursday. Thanks for listening to Our Mindful Nature. If you would like to receive today's meditation practice and nature soundscape as standalone audio files for your daily practice, please subscribe to my newsletter at merylarnett.com. It's free and you'll receive a new practice each week. Our Mindful Nature is recorded on Muskogee land and is produced with the support of Nick McMahon and Brianna Nielsen. Deep gratitude is offered to acoustic ecologists Nick McMahon and Gordon Hempton for the use of their nature field recordings in many of these episodes. We release a mini episode that's just the meditation, no chatter beforehand, every Monday. And every Thursday, we release a full episode with a meditation class or interview. I look forward to practicing with you again soon.